Well, this will be my 7th tutorial. It's not what you are expecting. It's going to be very basic with the notes, and also with the young people in mind who would like to play the mandolin. And so therefore I'm going to begin right from the basics, which will be a sort of review also for you folks out there who have been working with the tutorials that I have put out on YouTube, on my channel. Now, first off, for the youngsters, this is the head of the mandolin, the pegs from which you turn to tune, tighten and loosen those strings to tune it. Then you have the fretboard along here, and you have each fret, and then you have the pickguard, the bridge, the tail of the mandolin where the strings are hooked, and also the sound hole, and the top sounding board, which should be a spruce. Now, when you buy a mandolin, try to make sure that you don't get any rattles and that your tones are clean. I'm sure that wherever you buy your mandolin, they will do the best for you and give you the best they have. It's good to buy a good mandolin for a beginner, but not something that would be extraordinarily expensive to begin with. That usually comes later, but for a rank beginner or a child that wants to learn, or a young person, a good mandolin at a reasonable price from your local music store would be sufficient, I'm sure. Now, first off, we are going to tell you that music is made up of 7 notes, which are called A, B, C, D, E, F, G in our modern age. And each one, and it goes over and over like this, so each one of those is on this fretboard, wherever you place your finger. The mandolin, like the violin and the guitar, has open string notes. So now I will show you what I mean by that. Here we are with the open string notes. That's upside down. Who can read that upside down? Not even I. Well, I have to pretty well from here. Anyway, here we are. We got the fretboard here, the strings across, and the frets, of course. And there we have how you would tune it to a piano. The G to the G key, the D to the D key, and the A to the A key, and the E to the E key. So those are the open notes of the mandolin. G, B, A, E. That shows you here the first, the second, the third, and the fourth. But it's best to go from the bottom up, which on the mandolin would be from the top down. So it's G, D, E, A, E. Okay? Now, I won't tell you any more about this because it's a little more too advanced, but this is the notation of the mandolin, actually, right here. And I hope you can see this clearly, and study it, and repeat the names of the notes until you know them completely. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you, by the way, hold your mandolin like this, sitting or standing, and make sure that you hang your thumb on the mandolin. You got your 4 fingers free to play your mandolin, and your pick here. This is the type of pick I use, but you can get special mandolin picks if you can pay for it. They're pretty expensive, I hear, but they're worth having. I didn't manage to get one yet because I can't seem to find one. Anyway, if I found one, I certainly would get it, because it would make it for easier playing. But I find with this one, because it has the beveled edge and it's not phrased, because a phrased edge would not be so good. The bevel edged here, that helps me a lot. And of course the way you hold it. Now you put your mandolin like this, you see? You hold it like this. keep slipping down here. You hold like this and then like that. Now, you got your mandolin there and you don't know how to tune it. So, I'm going to tell you that each string has to be tuned with both of them in unison. Okay? Now, try and tune with me. Turn a peg gently and try to make it sound like this sound, okay? And the next one. Okay? Then you can test it. Go up to the 7th fret, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And leave that one open, leave the E open, but put your finger on the 2nd string, right here. And if it sounds the same, you know it's in tune. Try the next one. But always leave this one open, okay? So you can start from the top. If it was not in tune, it would sound different. It would sound like that. There it's in tune with the other string, you see? Because this string is sounding like this one. Now it isn't. See? Now it isn't, you see? It is, and it isn't. Okay, but that's for tuning only. This doesn't make these notes wrong. They are played in music, and when they're in the right place, they're beautifully sounding. So this is just for tuning. So if you can tune with me and follow what I do, we will do pretty good. Now I'm going to untune these E strings from being unison, and you will see what I mean. You see what I mean? They're not in tune. No matter if you try, not in tune, see? That's learning by ear, but you know it's not in tune on the 7th fret. So you turn it up again. And you listen. See what I mean? There are a lot of tuners you can get. And if that's your choice, well, that's up to you. I have no remark on that. But this is the very basics. When I started to learn music at about 11 years old, I started with the guitar. And we had no accessories like that. We had to learn the very basics by listening and hearing and paying attention and knowing what the notes sound like in different positions. Okay, now I might have to make this a little bit short because tutorials can become quite time-consuming. I will now show you again as a review. Oh, my guitar or mandolin just don't want to stay in place today for some reason. Now here is where the music is written. This is called a staff line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. Okay, 5 lines. It's called a staff line. And the notes are either on the line or between the lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 notes here, and they're called E, G, B, D, F. And that's their names because they're placed on these staff lines. And those are part, of course, of the A, B, C, D, E, F, G notes. Okay? So you look at that and you know that where this, when you are familiar with it on the fretboard or fingerboard, then you will know where to play it and at what pitch. Okay? So memorize those and get yourself a book with lines in it, staff lines, so you can write them out and name them and so forth. Now the spaces. The space staff line is very easy to remember. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 notes, and it's F-A-C-E. And of course, we all know that spells face, F-A-C-E. So when you have a note there, you know it's an F, you know it's an A, you know it's a C, you know it's an E. And when you know where they're supposed to be found on the fretboard, then you can read them as easily as you would read A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? And remember, you have to memorize and remember them. Now, here we get the staff line with all of them on it, both the space and on the staff line. So we get now the complete course. Oh, sorry, lost my pick here. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. So it goes from F to F, okay? From E to F. E on the first line and F on the top line. And then F, A, C, E on the spaces. So memorize those and write them down in your book, you youngsters that are beginning, and of course you older folk who already know this. Well, maybe your review wouldn't be so bad after all, huh? Now, the notes themselves. This is a whole note, and it has 4 counts. That means to say you play it and you count 4 times in your head or your metronome or with your foot if you have to. 1, 2, 3, 4, but you only hit it once. Only one time. It's a whole note, and this is what it looks like. So you will hit it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let the sound sustain, okay? Then we get to the next note. And the next one is a half note, and it has 2 counts. Now there's 2 half notes on there, but that just shows that they can be placed this way on the staff or that way. It has a staff on it here, and a hollow in the middle, an opening in the middle, and it's actually a whole note with a line here that makes it a half note, and a half note gets 2 counts. 2 counts only. So if you have 1 half note in a measure, then you say 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. If you have 2, you say 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay? Now if you have only 1, it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. Now the next one is a dotted half note, and that means it gets 3 counts because this dot gets 1 count. So you got the half note with the dot. So what are you going to do? Okay, then you count it this way, and you let it sound. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay? Now, the next one is a quarter note. And a quarter note gets only 1 count. There's 2 here because it wants to show you that it can go either way on the line or in between the line of the staff. So a quarter note gets 1 count. So you play it like this. 1, 1, 1, 1. 1, 1. If you got 2 or 3 quarter notes to play, then you can just say 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay? But if you only have 1, it's only 1 time, and you let it sustain the sound. Now, here we have something that's a quarter note with a dot. So a quarter note gets one count, and the dot gives it a half a count. And you're thinking now, well, how do I count that? Well, you count it like this. 1 and, 1 and, 1 and, 1 and, 1 and, 1 and. Okay? Okay, now we have what they call an eighth note. Upside down again. An eighth note. Now, how do we count an eighth note? An eighth note means that it's half of a quarter note. So it's a lot faster. It's half as fast. So you count it that way. It only gets one count. But it only gets, each note gets half a count. They're tied together. It can be not, but it will have to have a little flag on it. Now, okay, so you would count this as 1 and, 1 and, okay? So you would play them this way. 1 and, 1 and, 1 and, 1 and, 1 and. A downstroke and an upstroke. 1 and, 1 and, 1 and, 1 and, 1 and. Okay? So that's where you're there. Now, that's your lesson for today. And I hope that you've enjoyed it, and I hope you get a lot of benefit from it. And I'm not going to play any pieces for you until you memorize those notes and the staff line and the names of the notes, and get yourself some paper with lines on it, the staff line on it, and write them down and memorize them, especially the young people, if you want to start right from the beginning. And it might even help you older folks out there, and I hope so it does. So, bye-bye for today.